I actually would like to get to one of those questions before we wrap up and get out of here.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago, I was wanting to save this until we talked about the Cosmodrome more at length, but now with the massive delay in the season, we're not going to get to that for quite a while, probably until we get a few more details on it. Our friend, one of our beloved raid friends, and one of the members of the Discord that we hang out in, and fellow streamer, Nerd Generalist, asked us a couple weeks ago, did we think that this was the right time to bring back Ghallerhorn? Corey, I'm going to let you go first on this one, and then I'll give you all my answer.
Man,
pulling a fast one on you here.
I don't know. Like I think Ghallerhorn is such a special weapon to so many people just because of how important it was to year one, and then if people didn't play in year one, the Rise of Iron, if people remember, you actually went on a quest to put the Ghallerhorn back together, and that was actually a really cool quest to do. It was short, but it was still fun, and even though it was kind of nerfed at that point, it was still one of the better weapons, I would say. Ghallerhorn, is it time to bring it back? I think it would be an event. I think it would be an event to bring Ghallerhorn back. I think they would have to do it in a way, maybe as like a seasonal kind of event type thing. Man, I really don't know. I think here's the thing. I think if they brought Ghallerhorn back, they would have to make it an event. They would have to make it. It would be almost. I feel like if you were to put the Ghallerhorn back together again, it would be almost the way how secretive Sleeper Simulant was in Destiny 1, or like that kind of a quest where it couldn't just be like the Rise of Iron quest where you just put it back together again, right? Like I think they would have to make it some sort of, maybe not that difficult, but more of like, or even if you did something like the Outbreak Perfected quest line, like I feel like that might be a better way to achieve getting Ghallerhorn. But
right,
I wouldn't say no to bringing Ghallerhorn back. I just hope the consequences of not having Ghallerhorn won't make their way into the game like they did in Destiny 1.
Yeah. I think that's kind of where I fall on it too. Like I've been pretty adamant for a long time that Ghallerhorn was never going to be in Destiny 2, that they were going to save it for a Destiny 3, because that would be like the end of the franchise. But with this happening now, and with the Cosmodrome coming back, with the DCV vault happening, I think that kind of causes me to reevaluate everything that I think can and can't come back. Like at this point, the only weapon that I'm pretty adamant is never coming back is Icebreaker, because it actually broke the game. Not in a fun way either. Like it made trials and PvP almost unplayable.
Yeah.
At a certain point.
Yeah.
I can't see them ever allowing Icebreaker back in. That was a truly exotic weapon too. I think Ghallerhorn I would say there's 3 chances for Ghallerhorn to come back in this game. One could be as soon as, well, really 2, I guess. I say 3 because, yeah, you could do the Rise of Iron mission. You could unvault that, which I think would be really cool personally. But I also don't think it would hit quite the same now. Knowing that we've already done it before. I could see an Outbreak style mission. Once we know that the Crota's End raid is coming back, I think they'll release Ghallerhorn as like a ha-ha joke. Like, ha, we got you. Like, hey, we're putting it back in. This is our confirmation that Crota's End is coming like next season, and we're just not telling you about it yet. Since that's what everyone famously used it for. I can see that happening, but doing an Outbreak style mission in the old tower again, but this time like a tongue-in-cheek reference to the fact that we couldn't use our vault.
Yeah.
Or like they find out, like there's a faint signal transmitting from the old vaults in the reef. You're gonna have to storm the Vestian outpost and access the vault. You have to recover the Ghallerhorn before Erasmus's people can get to it, or something like Mithrax shows up to fight with you again, or something. I could see some really cool mission like that. I think if Ghallerhorn comes back, like you said, it has to be a special event. There has to be a reasoning behind it. It can't just be and the Rise of Iron mission was a special thing. Mm-hmm. We all knew it was coming back, but we didn't know how, and that was a special moment to get it like
mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Even though it was a fraction of what it used to be in terms of power, that was one of the few moments, like in Destiny 1, that I felt like a complete god-killing badass was running around with unlimited Ghallerhorn ammo, just blowing up tanks left and right.
Right.
It was incredible. It's a beautiful moment once you get to it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that. The only other time, so if they don't do it leading into Crota's End, or if that's not like a Whisper or Sleeper style mission sometime in the next year, I'm pretty sure they're going to hold off until we go into Lightfall. I think there's a potential they hold it till 2022.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say that, Lightfall is going to be the end of the franchise, but they have planned it out for 3 more years. That is probably at the very least the end of Destiny 2. They keep saying, no Destiny 3, no Destiny 3. Well, you can make it Destiny 3 and just let us bring everything over. Like, at a certain point, this engine is going to have to be upgraded.
Yeah, you don't think
next year or something.
You don't so you are you're kind of going off that Beyond Light wasn't going to be Destiny 3 at some point. I mean, if they were still under Activision, I'm saying.
If they were under Activision, it absolutely would have been Destiny 3. I'll stand by that assertion.
Yeah.
It at the very least would have been Destiny 3. They might have gotten away with making it another expansion, but at the very least, Beyond Light, like with the new subclass, with Stasis being added, it's the first new elements that are going to add. That's brand new guns you got to add. That's new legendaries, new exotics. Hell, even new rares that you got to add. That's new mods you got to add for everything. That's a whole new subclass, but you also or skill tree, I guess, and you got 3 skill trees within that as well. Like, it takes a lot to develop things like that for this game. Like that is Forsaken style. Like that is something they did there. Except they just added 1 to each element. Here they're adding 3 into a brand new one. We don't even know about other balancing or like RPG mechanics. Like the game is shifting much more towards an RPG than it has been in the past.
Yeah,
and I think that's great for the game's longevity, but I think that does make it a little bit more confusing for casual players. So yeah, I guess I operated under the assumption that was going to be it. Like, I think this kind of starts the next phase of Destiny 2, like the back half almost. We're entering the back 9 with Beyond Light, I think.
Yeah.
We've gone through the vanilla release, we've gone through Forsaken, we've gone through Shadowkeep. And Shadowkeep, like we said many times on this very show, was very much a transitional expansion. It's easily the weakest of the 4 major expansions we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
Far and away the weakest, I think. But that weak doesn't mean bad. I do think Season of Arrivals has helped it a lot. I think Season of Dawn helped. And I think it genuinely, like, the overall quality of life changes it brought were actually really good. But going a little bit deeper, Beyond Light, Witch Queen has to be a massive expansion. It can't be a Shadowkeep size thing.
No,
you've been building this out of Bethune since 2017.
Yeah, I feel like the Witch Queen is definitely going to be there taking King. Made like a Forsaken size, maybe Taken King size.
Yeah. I expect it to at least be the size of what Beyond Light looks to be.
Yeah.
By then, you'll be fully in next-gen swing. I mean, heck, they could even charge like $60 and be like, hey, this is the new standard version of the game, brand new engine and everything, but this is kind of how we're helping fund it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to leave the Halo Reach engine behind at some point.
Yeah. Is that what they're running on still?
I believe they're running on a heavily modified version of the Halo Reach engine, but I'm not quite certain.
I mean,
I know Destiny 1 was on it.
Yeah, I knew that, and I know that well, I guess that makes sense because I know they're running on a heavily modified version of the Destiny 1 engine.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Man.
And I mean, it takes money to R&D an engine. Like, let's be abundantly clear here. Like, the Slipspace engine was in development for years before it was used on Infinite.
Right.
They were working on it before Halo 5, and they couldn't get it done in time, which led to 343 getting really pissed off about it because they still had to get the game put out.
Yeah.
Like, Unreal 5 has been in development for years and years at this point.
Right.
Like, they're just now showing these engines to the public. Like, my guess is Bungie may use a proprietary engine. They may, I don't know if they'll develop one in-house or if they'll license out Unreal or Slipspace.
I have heard that this engine is incredibly difficult to use, where it's almost Frostbite levels, where like things that would take Unreal maybe a couple weeks to implement, it takes them months to implement, and that's why you don't see community feedback happen for seasons on end.
Yeah, I think Luke Smith addressed it either it was early this year or late last year, kind of in a state of the game that he did. I think it was during Season of Dawn.
Yeah,
people were like, kind of like, seasons suck, man, and he was like, "Oh, dude, trust me, like we know we're changing seasons completely for the fall," but he said, things take so long to update because it's built with what we call spaghetti code.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of like heaped in there, and you're trying to make sense out of it. You're trying to find where it begins and where it ends. Like you have to go through strands and strands and strands of code because you don't know where the issue is occurring. It is not easy to work with. I mean, even he's expressed a desire to want to move on from it. So this kind of tangented from Ghallerhorn, but it is a conversation that needs to happen as a community. Is when is the right time to move away from this engine? If you ask me, it was this fall, but you couldn't exactly go, boom, next gen only this fall. Like, no, you gotta give people a warning to go get these consoles. Like, you have to make it the very least it has to be able to run on the Series S.
Yeah,
that's coming out. That's like your bare minimum. Like, okay, 1080, 60 frames. That's your bare minimum on a console.
Do you think we will get a Destiny 3 though? Or do you think they'll be done after Lightfall? Or do you think they'll make another expansion?
I don't know if Lightfall is going to be the end. I think it's very interesting that they told us that the next two expansions. Mm-hmm. That's something they've never done before. It's always been very much in this year and this year. I think part of it is to kind of reassure people who were speculating a lot about Destiny 3, like, oh, it's got to be coming soon. It's got to be coming soon. And I was in that camp. I thought for sure next fall was it. I was like, they're not going to do Savathûn without her being the enemy of an entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing it. I mean, there's still plenty of other threads out there, like Callus and Callus's daughter are still hanging out there. Like, we're taking a break from the Cabal for at least a year here.
Yeah.
Like, we're wrapping up the Fallen now. Like, they're about to be under Mithrax and Varix's control, presumably, after all this is said and done with Erasmus. Like, we know we're going to be dealing with stasis-powered enemies this whole year. Like, at what point does Savathûn try to use that, and then how does she play, next year, like, taking down her? You still got Xivu Arath out there. You still got Kira out there. Who knows what's going to happen with Uldren?
Yeah.
You've got so many other things, like, did Eris and Osiris get possessed, how are we going to go about unvaulting all this old stuff? Like, there's so many questions, and
like, why is Vault of Glass coming back? Like, I mean, there has to be a lore reason for that to come out of the vault. You think? You would have to think, because like, if you look at Curse of Osiris, that opening cutscene takes place in the Vault of Glass. You actually see Guardians raiding, like when he freezes time and he walks through the crap, what's that room called? You know what I mean? Where like
I'm gonna say yes. I haven't. I'm gonna be honest. I've seen that cutscene one time, and it's the one time that I played that expansion, which was almost 3 years ago. So I don't really remember it, but I'm gonna go with your understanding and interpretation of it.
No, it's in Vault of Glass, where it's the room where you have to shoot the oracles.
Oh yeah. Or yeah. Okay.
You see a team of Guardians actually running through that room and actually running the Vault of Glass raid, and he comes through and kind of freezes time, and the Vex see him, right, and that's how like the expansion starts. The Vex see him, and then you go looking for him. But yeah, man, I there's got to be a lore reason for that.
I think that Vex gates are kind of tricky when it comes to lore. Like, there's multiple entry points into Vex constructs. So, like, the Pyramidion, there's another Pyramidion on Europa, for example.
Right.
There's another Pyramidion-looking structure there. Like, it's the same one, just in different space and time. Like, when we go into the Vault of Glass, are we going back to Venus right away, or are we going to do it through Nessus?
Yeah.
Personally, I'm a fan of the Nessus interpretation. I do think that we're going to do it in Nessus. My guess, honestly, would have been going in through the Pyramidion on Io before they vaulted the planet. I mean, heck, we might even do it from Europa, frankly.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of possibilities there that are really, really cool. But the lore reason that I've had speculated with people, and I was kind of debating whether to say this for a topic or not, there are Guardians that are lost, lore-wise, in the vault, and there is one that's prophesied to eventually get out. And I've seen it speculated in the online lore community that we are going to be the one to free that Guardian. And that Guardian will come back to the tower, be a vendor, things like that, maybe be a raid vendor. I think that would be a really cool way to kind of wrap the story of the Vault of Glass once and for all. But we also don't know how the raids are coming back. Like, is it going to be the exact same mechanics? Is it going to be different? Like, with you saying you're unvaulting it, are you going to get the option for the classic raid and the new raid, or what's going to happen there?
Yeah, are they going to give you the one that they released at the end of Destiny 1 when they brought all the raids back?
My interpretation is that we're getting that we're gonna it's still gonna be the classic raid, but with some twists. Like Luke Smith's already made the quip about, oh well, we're gonna throw some champions in there for you guys. Which if it's anything like Garden of Salvation, it won't be too bad.
Yeah.
It's just enough to kind of annoy you. Mm-hmm. But you throw those in. Maybe have a side tangent, have a fifth room added or something, like have an encounter between the Gorgon maze and jumping down to Atheon's chamber. Maybe have something between that and the jumping puzzle where you go off on a tangent to save this Guardian, and it happens kind of like Last Wish, like they help you vanquish Atheon once and for all. Mm-hmm. Something like that. I could see something like that really cool happening. But I don't know. Like, I think there's so many possibilities that you can do there, and lore reasons, like even something we're not even thinking of right now. I'm sure, like maybe we take out Kira for good. Maybe she shows up in this raid and we take her out. Like she's, we kill Atheon and we think, oh, it's all over, and then boom, another boss phase starts.
Yeah,
and she's there with Savathun's army of Taken or something, like some absurd encounter mechanic like that. Like who knows? There's so many things you can do there, and I'm kind of content just to sit back and see, like, are they going to give us Venus in the spring? Like, I think that's probably my most pressing question about content is, we know we're getting the Cosmodrome. We know we're getting Europa. Is Venus a secret third location we're going to get in the spring with the Vault of Glass?
Yeah, because how else would you access the Vault, right? Like, I mean,
well, if it operates like a Vex construct, like there's a scannable, I forget if it's on Io or on Nessus. You can go scan a Vex gate, and Ghost actually tells you, like, this appears to lead to the Vault of Glass, but it's inactive.
I think it's on Nessus. I remember
yeah. So, I mean, the Vex network is connected through space and time. Like, I mean, we were able to access the Garden of Salvation from the moon, for God's sake. We never even knew there were Vex on the moon. Like, there's so many absurd things that you can do, and I'm just kind of excited to see where the next 6 months or so take us in terms of that. We'll probably have a better idea once Christmas hits of what we're going to get the back half of the year.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
That's my long-winded answer. No, I do not think we're getting Destiny 3. I think Destiny 3 is a pipe dream. I think they will drop the 2 officially next fall once we move to next gen completely. Once it is only on Series X, PS5, Stadia, and PC. I think they're going to finally drop the 2. And I think the content vault is their way of still allowing current players to get to access the content for this year and possibly next year, but give everybody else next fall all the content from Destiny 2 and possibly content from Destiny 1.
Yeah,
if they can compress it and get it into a new engine.
Yeah.
So
could you imagine them just releasing like a new version of quote Destiny, and it literally just like if you're a new Guardian, it literally just starts over?
I would low key love every story mission from both games to be accessible at any time.
Yeah.
Within this game, I think it's a little ridiculous that you can't do it, even if you have to go through like a menu and just select your missions.
Yeah.
And like they're not accessible from the actual planet screen, which is fine because the planet screens are already convoluted as it is.
Yeah.
Like, give me those, give me some new adventures in these old locations. Like, give me plenty of stuff to do. Like, make it really feel like an MMO. Give me those like 10 to 12 strikes that were in Destiny 1. Give me the 4 raids. Like, give me all the content you can possibly muster.
Right.
And that you have the manpower to bring over. Give it to me. Figure out how to compress this game.
Right. Yeah, I wonder, especially like, I don't know. We'll save this conversation for another time because we have been running over a little bit, but our half-hour show has turned into an hour and a half. So, I mean, I do have more questions, but we'll answer them next time.